You're only one step away from achieving your dream. What if I told you that right now, yes, at this very moment, you're standing just one step away from the breakthrough that could transform your life forever? One decision, one action, one shift in perspective that could be the difference between where you are and where you've always dreamed of being. Would you take that step? For thousands of years, across countless cultures, there's been a universal truth recognized by those who achieve greatness. The most significant barriers to our dreams aren't external circumstances, but internal limitations. The invisible boundaries we've drawn around what we believe is possible. Today, we're going to shatter those limitations and reveal how astonishingly close you already are to the life you've imagined. Every extraordinary achievement in human history began with someone who was exactly where you are right now. Someone facing uncertainty, someone questioning their capabilities, someone wondering if their dreams were too ambitious. The only difference between those who make history and those who merely witness it is the willingness to take that crucial next step when everything inside them screams to retreat to safety. Think about it. Thomas Edison was just one experiment away from inventing the light bulb after thousands of failures. J.K. Rowling was just one publisher away from bringing Harry Potter to the world after countless rejections. And you, yes you, might be just one conversation, one application, one bold decision away from setting in motion the chain of events that will lead to everything you've been working toward. Let's begin by understanding the most powerful force keeping you from taking that critical step: the comfort of familiarity. Humans are hardwired to seek safety and predictability, even when our current reality is far from what we truly desire. We cling to the known simply because it's known, while the path to our dreams requires stepping into uncertainty. This psychological principle explains why so many people remain in unfulfilling jobs, unsatisfying relationships, or limiting belief systems long after they've outgrown them. The familiar discomfort becomes preferable to the unfamiliar possibility of something better. It's as if we're standing at the edge of a swimming pool on a hot day, intellectually knowing the water will feel wonderful once we're in, but hesitating at that moment of transition. What separates achievers from dreamers is their relationship with this discomfort. Where others see discomfort as a warning sign to retreat, achievers recognize it as confirmation they're on the right path. That flutter in your stomach when considering a bold move isn't fear. It's growth knocking at your door, inviting you to expand beyond your current limitations. The second revelation that can propel you forward is understanding the true nature of motivation. We've been taught that motivation comes first, followed by action. Once I feel ready, then I'll begin, we tell ourselves. But this formula has it precisely backward. The truth that all high achievers understand is that action precedes motivation, not the other way around. Think back to any meaningful accomplishment in your life. Did you feel completely ready before you began? Or did the readiness, the confidence, the clarity come after you took those initial steps? Almost universally, it's the latter. We don't think our way into new actions. We act our way into new thinking. This insight liberates us from waiting for some perfect emotional state before moving toward our dreams. You don't need to feel confident to begin. You need to begin to feel confident. The swimmer doesn't wait until they're dry to exit the pool. Similarly, you don't wait until you're motivated to take action. You take action, and motivation follows naturally. The third principle that can transform your journey is the power of micro-commitments. We often paralyze ourselves by focusing on the enormity of our dreams, seeing the gap between here and there as too vast to cross. But what if you stopped looking at the entire mountain and simply focused on placing one foot in front of the other? Every monumental achievement can be broken down into tiny, manageable steps. Writing a book becomes writing one page. Building a business becomes making one call. Transforming your health becomes making one better food choice. These micro-commitments bypass our brain's resistance to change because they don't trigger our fear response. They feel doable, even easy. Yet here's the magic. These small steps compound with almost miraculous power. Each micro-commitment builds momentum, confidence, and evidence of your capability. Before you know it, you're covering distances you once thought impossible, not through heroic leaps, but through consistent, intentional steps in the right direction. What's one micro-commitment you could make today? Something so small it would be almost impossible to say no to. that would move you one step closer to your dream? Remember, it's not the size of the step that matters, it's the direction. Perhaps the most crucial insight for those on the verge of breakthrough is understanding the deceptive nature of obstacles. We tend to see obstacles as evidence that we're on the wrong path, that our dreams are unrealistic, or that we lack what it takes to succeed. In reality, obstacles are not barriers to achievement. They are the very pathway to it. Every significant dream attracts proportional challenges. These challenges aren't punishment or bad luck. They're the necessary forging ground for developing the strength, wisdom, and character required to sustain success once it arrives. They're not in your way, they are the way. Consider how a butterfly develops the strength to fly. It's precisely the struggle of pushing against the cocoon that forces fluid into its wings, giving them the firmness needed for flight. If someone, with kind intentions, were to cut open the cocoon to help the butterfly, they would inadvertently doom it to a life without flight. Your obstacles are serving the same purpose, developing capacities within you that will be essential for the journey ahead. This perspective transforms how you view the challenges you're currently facing. That difficult colleague, financial constraint, or technical problem isn't preventing your success. It's preparing you for it, developing exactly the muscles you'll need for the next level of your journey. Another critical insight is recognizing how profoundly our environment shapes our potential. We like to think of achievement as purely a matter of individual determination, but the reality is far more nuanced. The 5 people you spend the most time with, the content you consume, and the physical spaces you occupy are silently but powerfully directing your focus and energy. Consider this. If you're the most ambitious person in your social circle, the one with the biggest dreams and highest standards, how likely are you to stretch beyond your current capabilities? Conversely, if you regularly interact with people operating at a level you aspire to reach, how does that recalibrate your sense of what's possible? This isn't about discarding current relationships, but about intentionally expanding your environment to include influences that pull you forward. Sometimes, the one step separating you from your dreams is simply exposing yourself to a new context, one where your goals aren't extraordinary but expected, where your ambitions aren't intimidating but inspiring. Who could you reach out to today? What event could you attend? What book could you read or podcast could you listen to that would expand your sense of what's possible and connect you with the energy of achievement? One of the most powerful realizations on the path to your dreams is understanding the true nature of fear. We've been conditioned to see fear as a warning to retreat, a sign that we're in danger or inadequate to the task at hand. But those who consistently achieve their dreams understand a profound truth. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's a compass pointing directly toward your growth. What frightens you right now about moving toward your dreams? Is it the possibility of failure, of judgment from others, of discovering that success brings its own set of challenges? Here's the transformation. What if those fears aren't warning you away from your path, but highlighting exactly where your greatest growth awaits? This shift in perspective, seeing fear as a guide rather than a guard, changes everything. When fear arises, instead of backing away, you lean in with curiosity. What is this fear trying to show me? What part of me is asking to be developed? Fear becomes not an enemy, but a valuable ally on your journey, highlighting precisely where your attention is needed most. As we near our conclusion, let's address perhaps the most pervasive myth that keeps people from taking that crucial step toward their dreams: the myth of readiness. I'll start when I have more experience, when I have more money, when the kids are older, when I've figured everything out. This waiting for perfect conditions is a form of self-deception, because perfect conditions never arrive. Every great achievement in history happened despite imperfect conditions. Every innovator, artist, entrepreneur, and changemaker started before they felt ready, learned what they needed along the way, and built the bridge while walking on it. The difference isn't that they had better circumstances, it's that they refused to let circumstances dictate their timeline. Consider this profound truth. The perfect moment to begin is rarely when you feel completely prepared. It's when the cost of not taking action becomes greater than the comfort of staying where you are. For many, that moment is now. The cost of postponing your dreams, the regret, the wondering what could have been, the unrealized potential, is simply too high a price to pay for temporary comfort. What if the step that separates you from your dreams isn't as dramatic or difficult as you've imagined? What if it's simply the decision to begin before you feel ready? To trust that the resources, courage, and clarity you need will emerge not before the journey, but because of it. There's a beautiful paradox at the heart of achievement. The gap between where you are and where you want to be often appears widest right before breakthrough. It's in that moment of maximum tension, when you feel furthest from your goal despite all your efforts, that you're actually on the cusp of transformation. Just as the darkest part of night comes right before dawn, the most intense challenges often precede your greatest advances. This pattern appears throughout nature and human experience. The marathon runner hits the wall before getting their second wind. The entrepreneur faces the greatest obstacles right before market acceptance. The artist confronts the deepest self-doubt before their most significant work emerges. What feels like failure is often merely the final resistance before breakthrough. Where in your journey might you be experiencing this pre-breakthrough tension? What if the very challenges making you question your path are actually confirmations you're closer than ever before? As we conclude our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought. Your dream exists for a reason. The vision that keeps returning to your mind, the aspiration that won't let you rest, the contribution you feel called to make. These aren't random thoughts. They're calling you forward for a purpose, inviting you to become the person capable of bringing them into reality. The world needs what only you can create. It needs your unique perspective, your particular combination of experiences, your special approach to solving problems. Someone, somewhere, is waiting for precisely the solution, the art, the business, the words, or the example that only you can provide. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. You do. The question is whether you'll take that one crucial step that separates dreamers from achievers. Will you begin before you feel ready? Will you push through the pre-breakthrough tension? Will you see obstacles not as barriers but as the very path to your development? Remember, you are only one step away. Not one giant leap, not one miraculous transformation, but one intentional step in the direction of your dreams. Take that step today. Not when conditions are perfect, not when fear subsides, not when you have it all figured out, but right now, in this moment. The distance between where you are and where you long to be is shorter than you think. And the journey across that distance begins with a single step. Your step. Today.